Peace, 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 peace. Oh, hmm. Okay. So today we're looking at sex as a portal. um, some time ago, when my children were a lot younger, and I used to post things like, "I want someone to treat me the way I'm treating my babies. Feed me, let me go to sleep. Give me some food and rock me to sleep." Somewhere in there, I saw this video of a female dog who had recently given birth because her teats were full. And there were all these little pups. She's walking, and all these pups are chasing her, and they are all trying to suckle. And while they are doing that, a male dog is also trying to mount her at the same time. So I was like, Lord, she just can't catch a break. Everybody wants something. so um, even though it doesn't always have to be that exhausting, um, I wanted us to look at today how the woman's body connects heaven and earth, or Ensamando and this plane. It connects dimensions. Our bodies are time travel portals, um, portals of interdimensional uh, movement from one place to the next. So, and it's quite a marvelous thing. And even if it is not, even if the act of sex, uh, which is still mostly required to bring babies here. Even if that is not done, sperm and egg that come from the male and female body still need to be procured. And it's still, until they find a way to truly make a test tube baby, I hear Bernie Mac, until there's the truth in being able to grow a baby completely out of a pod, a uterus, a woman's body is still necessary. I remember back in college, paying attention to another family and realizing that this mother, it wasn't my mother, but a mother of a friend that I was looking at. I was listening to her and just paying attention to her family and realizing it's us. We are the connection between our husband and our children, or the father of our children and our children. We are the connection between these different bloodlines that come together to bring this child forward. We are the connection to millennia back and forward, because no one comes here unless they come through this portal. We are the connection between the land of the ancestors and this land. And even in my tradition, when we speak of people moving between those realms, we're still speaking of a mother spirit. We're speaking of Nana AC, who is carrying people um, from the world of Ensamando here as babies, and then from here as elders back to the realm of Ensamando. So that ushering, that opening, that travel, um, it's women, and it's not just our bodies; it's our spirits, it's our souls. It is the ability. I can't remember exactly the words Nikki Giovanni said. Peace be upon her. But recently, before she transitioned, she was talking about how if you put Black women anywhere, we're going to nurture whatever is there. And she talked about the travails we've gone through as during captivity as enslaved women, giving birth to babies that we were forced to have, giving birth to babies who could also oppress us, or who could be forced into positions to oppress us, who could be sold away from us, all of those things. But she talked about if you sent Black women to another planet with aliens and we were forced to give birth to alien babies, that we would love on those babies. So I think about that connection, how the alchemy that happens in a woman's body when a baby is born. There are many different blood types. And if the mother and father have different blood types, if there's something ancestral that, genetically that brings forward a different blood type for that baby, that mother's body still hosts it, can host a baby with a separate blood type than her own, a different blood type than her own, can host it, um, can bring the baby here safely with a completely different it's amazing to me with a completely different, not completely because we're all human, but a varied chemical makeup in the blood um, can bring the baby here safely and can safely exist carrying that baby. So again, when thinking of sex, when thinking of sexuality, when thinking of sensuality, when thinking of our bodies, just how holy and amazing these bodies are, how sacred, how unique, how the things that are carried out in our bodies are. They can't be copied. There are attempts, but they cannot be copied. It is. It's amazing that the act of sex that is so trivialized and commodified and um, all the things, all the odds in Western society, that it still creates human beings. There are spaces in giving birth where the encouragement is to have an ecstatic birth. Um, for many women, birth comes with travail. Uh, for some women, birth is orgasmic. It is ecstatic, and not because they're doing something inappropriate with their child. It is because they are so in tune with their bodies that as their body comes to this majestic work of bringing forth this baby, joy is what they feel through and through, blood to bone, you know, uh, crown to toes. I've known women who have given birth and entered into a state of trance, entered into a state of possession or being mounted by spirit as they're bringing babies forward. Uh, because, of course, at the root of all of this, at the root of sexual communion, at the root of giving birth, at the root of even personal sexual exploration is always spirit. The terms that we use for um, for orgasm or sexual excitement are still otherworldly. So I remember I used to be fascinated with Shakespeare speaking of sex as a little death, and for whatever reasons, the fact that um, the body feels seized in a in paroxysmal delight, that it's such a voluntary involuntariness in the body. Um, that was always fascinating to me. Even the words that we use. I don't know what YouTube will flag, but when we speak of things that make it sound like we are returning either to ourselves or to each other, um, it speaks to something that is not, it speaks to something that is interdimensional. All I can see is marble in my head. And so I see all these different dimensions. But it allows two people to connect. It allows bloodlines to connect. So I'll tell this story. And then, of course, if you are a spiritual being, which we all are, but if you are attuned and in touch with your spiritual existence, and I pray that for all of us, we are always coming more to ourselves, stripping off those things that are blocking us from truly experiencing our connection to spirit. But the more attuned you are, the more precious and with attention sex has to be dealt with. So I remember, one day years ago going to the doctor with all my babies in tow, trying to remember if the third one was born. But I had toddlers, little people in the car. And I had a dream the night before about the first boyfriend I ever had that I was sexually intimate with. And I had a dream that he was in danger. Something was wrong with him. And I hadn't spoken to him in years, 10 plus years. I hadn't spoken to him in years. And I called a friend of ours because for us not being acquainted, I don't wish ill or death on anyone. I called a common friend of ours and said, "Is he okay?" Because I had a dream that he was something was dire for him, what was going on. And the friend told me, well, he's going through a divorce. I had no knowledge of that. I had no knowledge of what was happening. I just knew something terrible was happening to him, and I wanted to make sure that he was okay. So when this was years later, of course, I had gotten married. I had two and a half or three children. I don't remember if I was pregnant or not, but I'd had all these. I'd had many different phases in my life, and still there was a piece of me that was aware of this young man. Um, and so again, the goal is, as we're raising children that are emotionally intelligent, spiritually aware, and connected to their ancestors and prepared to be ancestors to their descendants, and being aware of the world around them, that they should not trifle with sex. It doesn't mean they shouldn't enjoy it. It doesn't mean it shouldn't be remarkable. It doesn't mean they shouldn't have a great time, but it shouldn't be trifled with, because if we're raising them to be open in those ways, then they are sex is spirit work. It is spirit work. And so even with when I had that dream, it made it clear to me that I wanted to share with young people the importance of intimacy, not just the sex act. Sex came out like C, the sex act, but intimacy. And that if you are an attuned person, what that really means for you, it's not a game. It's not a basketball game. It's not a handshake. It is a communing. It is an awareness. Um, and I don't use all the, like, I know when I was in high school and early college, again, I say largely in the Christian church will teach our children sex is bad, 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 bad. Save it for someone you love. So I'm not going to use any of the terms that I learned that paint it in such a terrible light or a scary light or a fearful thing. Just being aware that sexual spiritual alchemy is not something that ends when bodies separate, when clothes are put on, when people no longer want to talk to each other. It doesn't end for a number of different reasons, but it doesn't end. And so we have to be careful with this amazing um, tool, spiritual gift that we've been given. This spiritual tool that allows us to be gods, that allows us to bring life forward, that allows us to work alongside the creator and our ancestors to conjure a brand new person, body, soul, and mind to the planet. And even when it's not babies, this spiritual tool that allows communion between people, that allows binding between people, that allows um, connection, awareness, so many things, that allows manifestation, actualization, in the right hands, affirmation, all the Asians, all the good Asians, that all those things are possible, that um, to treat it as you would anything else that's precious. We don't throw around anything that's precious. We don't throw around, well, hopefully you don't pick really gorgeous flowers and just smash them into the street. Hopefully you take the time to savor them or smell them or leave them on the bush or put them in baths or all of the things. Recognizing the sacredness of sex, the fact that sex is spirit work is part of just honoring and respecting all of life around us. So, anyway, but I wanted to share that today, and I will share some more tomorrow. I want to talk. I'm going to share about how the spirit work of our body's sexuality, sensuality, how it is utilized in spirit work, and has been for generations, for millennia. But this is Reverend Okomfo Malamu Yogi Sister Mama Adi saying, peace. I'll see you tomorrow.